Very good morning. Uh, uh, yeah. Which topic we are discussing? Could you please remember me? Yeah. Which topic? Utility objects. We were discussing, right? Utility objects, I believe. Sorry. See, data table. Sorry. Data table is done. Data table is done. No, not finished. Sorry. Okay. Data table also we done, I believe. For you or some another batch, I'm not sure. Hmm. Okay. Descriptive programming we discussed. Static and dynamic. That one we discussed, right? Okay, yeah, I believe that one is done. Now we have to start up with utility objects. Okay. Okay. So any other programming language, if you go for you will be coming up with built-in features and user defined. So built-in features comes under like classes, objects, something like that. Okay. So okay, classes means I can say a predefined purpose. They may come up with some classes. Okay, so that is nothing but built-in class. Similarly, use different classes also you can come up with. Class is nothing but like group of objects. Once you come up with class, you can create reference of that object. That means like you can consider as reference of that class, you can consider as objects, and those objects you can use it up depends on your situation. Exactly, every tool, every programming language will be having like built-in objects and user defined objects. Okay, built-in objects and user defined objects. So built-in objects are nothing but for different purpose, for specific purpose they were used. Like best example is reporter dot report event. Okay, so that is for logging steps in your qtp results window. You can use exactly like that, like the so many predefined objects you can come up with. Exactly user defined also you can come up with. Okay, so here there are two types of objects you will come up with. So those two types are nothing but like test objects and utility objects. Test objects are nothing but like your application specific objects you can consider as test objects. We told, right, for clicking on sign in button, for setting up username, for setting up password, clicking on about Gmail, all those objects I believe we come up with. Okay, so those are nothing but like test objects. Exactly, you'll come up with one more type of objects in your QTP. Those are nothing but like utility objects. Okay, those one you have to find out. Means you can go insert menu and step generator. So here functions, test objects and utility objects you will come up with. So functions, so there are so many types of functions you will come up across. Library functions, bulletin functions. See how many bulletin functions are there. Okay, how many bulletin functions? Exactly, user defined. If you go for like bulletin, local script function. Okay, these are local script functions and library functions are user defined. Whatever you are coming up with, those are nothing but like bulletin function, user defined functions. Okay, so bulletin functions are specific. These are the different functions available in our VB scripting portion. Okay, so then test objects, your application specific. So which are the objects you are having in your object repository, those objects gets up here. Okay, so those are nothing but like test objects. Those are nothing but test objects. Then you can go for like utility objects. These all are nothing but like so many types you come up with. So those are nothing but like utility objects for specific purpose you can come up with. Okay, so system utility dot run. As soon as you're launching application, that object you come up with. So those are nothing but like utility objects. Okay, so see reporter reporter dot report event, even this one also like your utility object comes under like utility object, reporter dot report event. Okay, we go one by one. So okay, so data table. So what is the purpose of data table? So this is a very powerful feature they come up with in QTP. So for performing data driven testing they come up with, so data table plays major role. Okay, so how many rows of data you want to pass, those many rows you can pass in data table, and your QTP script automatically executes your script those many iterations. Okay, so like that so many operations you can perform. Which are those operations? Data table dot yard sheet. Okay, so while runtime you may come across situation like adding a specific sheet to your data table. Okay, so sheet 1. Okay, so you can add a sheet, and remember which sheet you have to add, that one you can pass it up in double quotes. You can pass it up in double quotes. Okay, so then run it up. Okay, it's executed, right? But here you are not seeing sheet 1. What is the reason? In data table there are two types of data table: design time data table and runtime data table. So this sheet you are creating runtime, so runtime it will create dynamically. Okay, so that's the reason you are not seeing that sheet here. This is nothing but like design time data table. So here whatever the values you are entering, those values you can see always. But runtime, what are the values or what are the operations, simply I have to say, means which are the operations you are performing for your data table during runtime. Those operations, those things you cannot see in your data table. Okay, you cannot see in your data table. So those one where you can see runtime data, runtime things, where you see is in your results window. You are seeing here like runtime data table, runtime data table. So here you see, you saw sheet 1. Okay, sheet 1 you are able to see here, right? So this is nothing but like your design time data table and runtime data table. Okay, so like this dot, if you want to delete a sheet you can delete. Okay, you want to delete a sheet you can delete. Okay, so you can pass it up like sheet id. Okay, so just a second. Okay, so if you go for, okay, are you seeing here sheet 1? So during runtime it's creating and deleting also. You are given here delete sheet also, right? So it has deleted. Okay, so you are creating sheet here with the help of add sheet and immediately you are deleting. Okay, that's why you are unable to see that sheet in your runtime data table also. Like that, if you go for, there are so many things you come across. Export, if you want to export this data table in qtp, which is the data table you are seeing, that data table if you want to export, okay, you can export with the help of like export command, data table dot export. So where you have to export and what is your file name, that is what you have to pass here, like so. Okay, so some sample dot xls. Okay, if I execute, I'm trying to export qtp data table to external xls file. So here, fine, it got exported, you see. And qtp data table having two sheets, global and action. Action 1, you are entered two data, that is what it was exported, you see. Okay, so this is nothing but like exporting. So here one more simple command you'll get, like export sheet. Okay, no, you don't want to export entire qtp data table. You want to export only specific sheet. So at that point of time you can go for like export sheet. Okay, so export sheet, where you want to export, and two parameters you have to pass, where you have to export and what is the sheet, where you have to export and what is the sheet you have to export, which sheet from this data table. So action 1, I'm trying to export action 1. Okay, okay, so if you go for this my documents, sample 1 got created and which sheet got exported here, action 1. Okay, action 1, that is what you were exported, right? So action 1. So like that you can import, you can export entire file a specific sheet. Get current row, which row is active, that is what it will try to return. Okay, which row currently active. So which one it will return, first row it will return. Okay, no, why is returning 0? Okay, so if you have no data in your qtp data table, so it cannot enable, it cannot set current row, right? So that's why it's returning 0. Okay, that's why it's returning 0. If you don't have any of the data in your qtp data table, so qtp cannot set. Okay, and remember one more point, like here if you want to get data from specific sheet, so at that point of time you can go for like dot get sheet. Okay, dot get sheet, so which sheet, so action 1. Okay, so action 1 get current row, how much is giving 3 AC, but surprisingly okay, but surprisingly here you don't have 3 rows of data, right? But still it's returning current row 3. Why? Is something bug, you can say. Okay, you're getting right. So here I will try to delete. Okay, no rows of data you have. So now action 1 only one row of data you are passing. So set current row 3 I have given. Oh, right. No, still. see 3. So there is some bug in your QTP. That is the case means. Okay, set current row 3 you are getting, get current row 3, but 3 rows of data you are not passing, right? So if this is the case for global sheet means it's not written. So if you remove this get sheet, if you remove this get sheet, okay, so 0 is written, that means there is some bug. Okay, okay, so this is nothing but like creating sheet dot exactly this one you can try it out. Okay, so get sheet count, how many sheets you are having, those many sheets you want to return means you can go for like get sheet count, get row count, how many rows of data you are passing in this. Okay, so that one it will return you like go get row count. Okay, total number of rows you have passed the data in your QTP, that row count it will return. Get sheet count. Okay, so global sheet operations you have to perform is you can go for like global sheet. See, so add parameter, delete parameter, get current row, get parameter, get row count, global sheet name, set current row, set next row, set previous row. Okay, so these are the operations you have to perform is, so you can go for like global sheet. Okay, so import and import sheet. Import means you want to import entire XLS file. Externally you are having some XLS, during runtime you want to import that one. So at that point of time you can go for like import command. Exactly, import sheet, external XLS file having multiple sheets, all those sheets you don't want to import, only specific sheet you have to import. Okay, so at that point of time you can go for like import sheet, local sheet. Okay, set current row you have to activate means you can go for like set current row. Set next row, set previous row, this one you are aware. Raw value even I also not sure, I have to check it up. Okay, value, so you have to read data from your data table, so at that time you can go for like data table dot value. Okay, so what are the two parameters you have to pass for this one? For value, two parameters you have to pass. What is the column name? You have to read from which sheet. Two columns you have to pass it up for this one. Okay, so just give me a second. Okay. So for this one you can pass two parameters. This one I already explained. Okay, so you can pass it up two parameters like which column, okay, so which column you have to take and from which sheet. Okay, so like this, whenever you have time, just to practice it up. To be honest, this one like the way of coming up with your framework, at the time you may get a chance. Okay, but all these operations, meanwhile, all these methods you may not get a chance. But still, why I was discussing is like you are attempting competitive exams or certification exams. So at that time, you may get a chance to ask. Okay, that's the reason. Just to go through it up, each and everything you just try to practice it up once. Okay, so this is nothing but like your data table. Exactly. Uh, Crypt is one more utility object. Crypt is one more utility object. So in your any of the application password you don't see directly, right? So what it will do, it will convert into and display stars. That is what, even if you observe, like while recording for password, it will encrypt and show you in your qtp script, right? So that is kind of data you have to get it up, means you can go for encrypt. Okay, you can go for encrypt. So uh, okay, so this is what if you give means. Okay, so it will encrypt and give you the code. Okay, is encrypting and giving you, right? So this is nothing but like encrypt. Okay, so whatever that a string you are giving within double quotes, that string it will encrypt and return you. Okay, so that is nothing but like encrypt. And you might have a like system utility dot. Okay, so run mostly you will get a chance to use for any of the application, but close process by window title. If you want to close process by using window title, you can go for this is the method. Okay, so we'll try it out. What is the title? Okay, so let me open notepad. What is taking? Untitled notepad. Okay, so if I execute, okay, that notepad got closed, right? That notepad got closed. Okay, close process by notepad by window title, means whatever the window you want to close, just give title within brackets. Okay, it will get closed. Dot exactly like that by block input. I have to check it up even this one. Okay, so close dependent process. So for a specific process, which are dependents, all those one descendant address you have to close, means you can go for that one. Close process by window handle, H window. Each and every window should be having some handle. Sometimes for identifying window you can go for like window handle. With the help of that window handle Also you can close a specific window. Okay, so here you can pause window handle. Process by id, each and every process will be having some id. Even I'm also not sure like how to get id, process id. I have to check it up. Okay, so but you have to close by process id means you can go for like close process id, close process by name. Say specific name. What is the name means here? So from your task manager process you will get, right? So this is the process name. Okay, so this is the process name. So this process, if you give for by process name, it will get closed that process. Okay, so unblock input, specific input you have to block means you can go for block, you have to unblock means you can go for unblock. Okay, so this is also one more utility object you can come across. And one more you will come across like dictionary object. Did I discuss this one? I'm not sure. Let me come up with code. I will explain you. Okay, so this one you can consider as dictionary object. Before going to dictionary object, so how many types of variables you will come across in any of the programming language? Scalar variables and array variables. What is the purpose of scalar variables? Single values of any data type you can store. Arrays, array variable means multiple values of single data type you will get a chance to use. Those are nothing but like arrays. But with respect to VB script, if you think about it, arrays, you can store multiple values of multiple data types, but that is not good practice. Okay, in C language, if you want to get a chance to store like multiple values of multiple data types means there you come up with structures, one concept. Okay, so with the help of structures, you can store multiple values of multiple data types. Exactly, I said through arrays is not good practice to store multiple values of multiple data types. So at that point of time, you may get a chance to go for like dictionary object in your implementing framework. Okay, so at that time you may get a chance to use this one. It's very good powerful concept. So that is nothing but like dictionary object. Okay, so multiple values of multiple data types. Okay, so here first name and last name of type like string, employee id is of type like integer, date of birth is of type date. So here if this is the situation means you can go for like dictionary object. So in your real time, which kind of situations you can go for like dictionary object is for login, url, username and password. So that one dictionary object you can go for login related values, you can store it up in dictionary. Okay, meanwhile compose mail, if you go for compose mail to cc, bcc, subject matter, so many fields you have to fill up, right? So at that point of time it's better to go for like dictionary object. Meanwhile registration, so while registering you have to fill up so many fields in your registration form: first name, last name, middle name, age, date of birth, present address, permanent address, username, password, like that. So many fields you have to fill up. Even at that point of time you can go for like dictionary object. Okay, so this is the purpose of like dictionary object. It's very simple. So dictionary dot yard, so what is the variable name and value? So you have to use that variable directly. You can give it a object dictionary dot variable name. Okay, so this is the way you can go for like using dictionary object. Okay, so then I hope everything clear. Any questions means you just message me. Then one more object you will come across like repositories collection. Okay, so you are aware of like in qtp front there are two types of object repositories you will come across: per action object repository and shared object repository. Per action object repository nobody is using. Okay, so you are going for like shared object repository. So at that time there is no restriction, like for whole application you have to come up with one object repository. Okay, so you may come up with multiple object repositories to make your job easy. Okay, so at that point of time in middle you may get a chance to add a specific object repository or delete specific object repository. At that point of time you can go for like repositories collection object. At that point of time you can go for repositories collection object. So for this object different methods you are coming up with like add for adding object repository during runtime. Okay, so count is for counting how many repositories are there. Find a specific object repository. Item, specific item you have to get means you can go for item. So object repository's position you have to change, so you can go for like move to position. If you want to remove specific object repository, you can remove. You want to remove all object repositories, you can remove all. Okay, so we go one by one. Okay, now if we go for in your object repository, no object repository. At that time extension was wrong. Okay, so clear. Okay, you saw right, your object repository is there in your. So here if you go, see, so all local object, which all other repositories available, all those one you will come across here. Okay, so okay, so two object repositories are same, that's the reason. Okay, no difference you see, but here using two object repositories, main dot copy, okay, and main, these two are object repositories you're seeing right. So this is the way you can add. Dot count, so what it will return is, it will try to return how many object repositories are there, those many objects, that count it will return, that count it will return. Okay, so two object repositories you were added, so it's returning you two. Dot remove. Okay, so you're trying to remove one object repository and count you see. Okay, so two object repositories right now we are having before removing one object repository. Okay, okay, you cannot remove with the help of like name, you have to pass position. Okay, that's why it's throwing you error. Second position you have like main. Okay, so that repository you are removing. True, you are removing, so once you remove you have only one object repository. like that. You have to change position. We can change it. Okay, so current position and new position. So 1 to 2 you have to move, means you can go for first position to second position to first position, like that. Which position to which position you have to move, that one you can go for like move to position dot find. So specific object repository is there or not, this object repository was there in the object repository or not, you have to find. You can go for find. Okay, so similarly item, you have to fetch item. So specific object repository from specific position, second position which object repository got decided. Okay, so at that time two object repositories. So second position, second, this is the one you were added, right? So it's returning. So that's how you can come up with like your object repositories. Okay, so repository operations you have to perform. You can go for like repositories collection. You can go for repositories collection. Okay, okay. So before going Pathfinder, one simple thing. What is absolute path and what is relative path? Absolute path is nothing but like your complete path. You are managing whole your framework in this computer, and here only you are always trying to execute. Then you can go for absolute path. But really you may not come across that kind of situation. The main advantage of automation is like unattended execution and batch execution, right? So you may come across situation like may execute in multiple computers, so at that time computer to computer path may get vary. So that kind of situation, how you can handle that one? With the help of relative path. Okay, that one with the help of relative path. So dot dot, if you give like first folder driver, C driver, D driver, or E driver, whatever the drive it is, it will look for Salesforce automation and this path. So here one folder you are making it as relative path. Okay, no, two folders you have to make relative path. You can go for one more data. No, you want to go for three folders, one more you can make it. Okay, So this is nothing but like your relative path. Very powerful concept. In your automation framework development, you will get a chance to go for this kind of approach. Okay, so remember now what it will return if you go for okay. So now you have to okay. So client want to get to know in which environment is getting details is giving nothing. Okay, so why it's having some problem, I will tell you. Okay, why it is a problem. So let us suppose uh, your framework you're managing in quality center. Sometimes let us suppose your quality center down, you have majorly, so at that time your quality center down, so it's entirely waste of supply. So to overcome this kind of inconveniences, what you can do is you have to manage whole of your framework in quality center as well as shared drive. By chance quality center down, you can go to shared path, and from there shared drive, and from there your automation framework automatically pick up and execute. So at this point of time, let us suppose client want to get to know whether your automation framework getting executing from shared path or quality center. So at that time you have to report that path, right? So at that point of time, pathfinder.locate may be helpful for you. So tools, options, folders. So here which are the folders you have to execute, you have to pass it up. Okay, here you have to add those folders. Which are the folders qtp may look for? Those folders here you can add it up. Okay, so if you give now, if I execute, so it's not giving, right? Sorry, or you have to give. Okay, extension is wrong. Hmm. Okay. So you can give directly file name instead of giving a complete path, you can give file name. Okay, so this is the way you can get up like you can find out path of a specific file dynamic, that means like relatively. Okay, so like that so many are there. What we do is remaining one we'll try to discuss later. So we start up with framework implementation. Okay, so remaining utility objects like WMI scripting, all this one is not that much important. So but once we finish our framework at the time we'll try to discuss remaining topics. Okay, so we give 10 minutes break and after that we start up with like there are different types of frameworks, that topic we'll discuss, and tomorrow we start up with like framework implementation. Okay, fine. Okay, that's fine, we'll give just